The Toronto Raptors lose to the Detroit Pistons 127 to 116 in Detroit. This wasn't a particularly fun game to watch. Like sometimes the Raptors can blow a team out or get their behinds kicked, and it's still a fun game to watch. I found this game a little on the boring ish side, but still a fun game to watch nonetheless. And so there are a few things that we have to discuss because they are a rough, brutal, physical team. That's what the Detroit Pistons are. They're a very, very rough team. And so when you go up against them, you have to expect that there's going to be a bit of pushing, a bit of shoving. You've got to expect the level of physicality to be high and get ready for a bit of a slobber knocker. Okay, because that is who the Detroit Pistons are when you play against them. Okay, when you go against the Detroit Pistons, this is what you can expect. And that's how it's going to continue to be for these guys. They're rough, they're rugged. That's just how they are. This guy, Jalen Duren, where is he? Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren is, I don't even know how to describe Jalen Duren. He's an animal. I mean, he is a specimen. Jalen Duren looks like he eats loaves of bread for breakfast. Jalen Duren looks like he uses a car tire for a pillow. Jalen Duren looks like he bench presses cars for fun. He's huge. He's huge. And when I say Jalen Duren looks like he eats loaves of bread for breakfast, I'm not talking about sliced bread. I'm talking about hardo bread. He looks like he sprinkles bricks on the bread for breakfast and eats it. That's how big and strong Jalen Duren looks. It's ridiculous. The Raptors couldn't figure out what to do with the guy. I mean, in 35 minutes, we're talking 31 points. He was 12 of 13 from the field, 7 of 7 from the free throw line. He had 9 rebounds. He had 3 assists and 2 blocks. It's what do you do with the guy? It's like if he blows on you, you'll go flying. I mean, what are you kidding me? If he saw me, he'd probably use me to floss his teeth. The guy is mammoth. Just absolutely mammoth. Superfan Mo Official says, we have to beat the Kings, no question. Absolutely, Mo. Mo, we got to try to beat the Kings. Because not try to beat the Kings. You better beat the Kings. Because we knew going up against Orlando or Detroit, you know, some people thought they wouldn't get any of them. Thank God they got one. And then now you got to go up and against the Sacramento Kings and try to get them in that game as well. But there are a few things that we should discuss in this game. And there was maybe one bright spot for me in this game. Actually, kind of two bright spots in this game, if you ask me. So I mentioned 127-116 Detroit Pistons over the Toronto Raptors in this one. And if you didn't already know, Brandon Ingram did return to the lineup. Colin Murray-Boyles did return to the lineup as well. Still no Emmanuel Quickly in this one. Obviously, no Cade Cunningham, no Isaiah Stewart in this one as well. And so the starting lineup for the Raptors tonight was Scottie Barnes, Jacoby Walter, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, and one Jakob Poeltl. So the first thing I'm thinking is, because we had talked about this on the last episode. My phone went flying out my pocket. We're talking about one Scottie Barnes, obviously, and Scottie playing that point guard position, right? I still liked what I saw from him tonight in regards to his facilitating. What a game. Raptor Champ says for one, Colin Murray-Boyles. We will discuss him in a second, so thank you for bringing that up. But I thought Scottie, from a facilitating perspective, was good in this game. In 28 minutes, he did have 12 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks in this game. But what have I talked about in regards to wanting to see from one Scottie Barnes? You do want to see him be more aggressive to score the ball. And so to me, this is unacceptable to me for Scottie Barnes to play 28 minutes in this game and he go 2 of 8 from the field for 5 points, 0 of 2 from 3-point range. Scottie Barnes should never, and I mean never, have 8 field goal attempts in a game. Not with you being the leader for this team, not with the way this team is currently constructed. There was absolutely no way that Jakob Poeltl should have more field goal attempts than Scottie Barnes. There was no way Mamu Kelishvili, Colin Murray Boyles should have more attempts than Scottie Barnes. And listen, you guys can let me know what you think. But to me, 8 field goal attempts for Scottie Barnes does not cut it, especially when you're playing against a team like the Detroit Pistons. You have to be aggressive to score the ball. You have to be aggressive to score the ball if you're Scottie Barnes because he's capable. He's capable. Would you rather the ball be in his hands at mid-range or around the basket and him try to score? Or would you rather see the ball go to Jakob Poeltl, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram? And don't get me wrong, it's not like those guys played terrible either. It's not like they played terrible either. I mean, in 31 minutes, sad game for the 905, Mo said. What happened to the 905 game this year? I didn't see it. I know they had a playoff game tonight. What happened? Brandon Ingram in 31 minutes did have 22 points, 7 of 15 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3-point range. Let me plug in my computer here. Had only 1 turnover in this game as well. But RJ Barrett had 31 minutes in this game, 24 points in this game, 7 of 12 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3-point range, 8 of 10 from the free throw line. So that's a good showing from the free throw line from RJ Barrett. And RJ Barrett kept you alive in this game early because the Raptors started off this game abysmal on the offensive end. Absolutely abysmal on the offensive end. The Raptors started off this game with 7:05 remaining in the first quarter. They were 0 of 9 from the field. 0 of 9 from the field. And it didn't get better for a while in this one. Pistons, like I mentioned, very physical, as I have here in my notes. Barrett kept them in the game early, 7 of the Raptors' first 9 points, and Colin Murray Boyles had a nasty tomahawk over Herter. He looked really good in this game, actually. And early on in this game, Superfan Mo official said, BI frustrated me tonight. He did early on for me because I have in my notes here, the ball kept sticking with him and it was driving me insane. It was driving me nuts. It's like when the ball gets to Ingram, it's just everybody get the hell out the way and isolate. I can't stand it. It's pissing me the hell off. It really is. And I don't want to see and Alvin was saying this on the broadcast. The ball has to move. There has to be flow. The ball has to be swung and then reversed back to the opposite side if need be, but the ball has to move. The Detroit Pistons, from a defensive standpoint, are elite. You cannot just stand there, go isolation, and then have the entire defense just watch one guy and close in on him. Yes, Brandon Ingram does make some tough shots and some tough fadeaways, and he's falling back, but you can't rely on that game after game after game. It's just not going to help you. You got to get other guys involved here. You got to make other guys comfortable. Be ready to catch, shoot, and everyone create and move the ball for each other. The Raptors in this game shot 43 of 89 from the field. The Pistons were 44 of 73 from the field. The Raptors had 16 more field goal attempts in this game. 16 more field goal attempts in this game. The Raptors shot 10 of 29 from 3-point range. And really, they just added those late threes um, to close out that game. Really, they did go on a bit of a run later on in that game. The Pistons were 13 of 23. They shot 57% from 3-point range in this game. But listen to this. This part's alarming to me too. And I'm not saying that the Raptors have to go 100% from the free throw line, but you shoot 20 of 31 from the free throw line. You miss 11 free throws in this game. You miss 11 free throws in this game, and you lose the game by 11.
It's completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees, shame for the league to allow this.
And listen, this game what was the largest lead in this game? The largest lead was 23 points in this game. 23 points. And I'm not saying that you making 28 of 31 or 29 for 31 would have necessarily changed the game. Maybe a bit of the dynamic, it might have been closer a little bit, but I wonder what the outcome is and how things would be if the game was a little bit tighter from some made free throws. Now, good, and I mean really good defensive effort in this game from Colin Murray-Boyles. In 24 minutes, him returning to the lineup, you're looking at 14 points, 7 of 13 from the field, 10 rebounds in this game as well for Colin Murray-Boyles, gave you 2 steals, a block. He had 7 offensive rebounds in this game. 7 offensive rebounds in this game. And it was a really good effort from him defensively. He's just such a solid defensive player overall. We've been talking about that with Colin Murray-Boyles all season, whether it's man-to-man as a help defender, closing out on shots. He kind of just does it all. And the Raptors, after the first quarter, it was a 6-point deficit. They were down 26-20. And the Raptors at that point were 9 of 12 from the free throw line, but they were 5 of 20 from the field. 5 of 20 from the field after the first quarter. It was just a horrific shooting night for the Toronto Raptors, especially early on in this game. Now, Scottie, if you didn't know this, Scottie was the first player since Domantas Sabonis in 2023 to have a 25 rebound game and a 15 assist game in the same season. Okay. And the Raptors just look completely off offensively. They look confused because it's like, to me, they don't know what to expect on the offensive end night to night. I think that's what confuses the hell out of them. They don't know what to expect. They don't know if Scottie's going to give you 20, 25, or if he's going to give you 5 like tonight. You can't have 5 points against the Detroit Pistons. Your team needs you to lead in many different ways. He did a good job defensively. He did a good job facilitating. But they need you to do more offensively. I've touched on that over and over and over again. I would just trust him with the ball to make plays for himself than to give it to some of the other guys out there. I just would. And play through him. Play through him. Put him in position to score if you're Darko. Like, you can't just go out there and expect him to create everything. You got to set some actions for him, some plays for him. You got to get him in position for him to go out there and be able to be successful. The Raptors had 17 points off Detroit turnovers with 9 minutes remaining in that second quarter. And at that point, the Pistons had 10 turnovers. I mean, when you look at the numbers in this game, the Raptors had 14 turnovers in this game. You know how many they forced on the Pistons? 21 turnovers. They forced 21 turnovers on the Pistons in this game. And fast break points, only +2 for the Raptors, 14-12. Points in the paint advantage goes to the Raptors as well, 60-54. And the Pistons, The Pistons are getting mismatches all over the place in this game due to the Raptors switching, continued switching on defense a whole bunch of times, to the point where there's a bunch of times where even the bigs get switched onto the guards, onto the Raptors guards. And in on the perimeter for the Pistons, they're just lobbing the ball over the top of the defense, getting it in for easy layups. I mean, it was like really light work for them to do that. And they did it over and over and over again. Rainbow 6 1972 says, not good to see on the good point. I mean, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. The Raptors' toughness kind of went away for a bit in that third quarter. Like, and I know I'm not there yet, but they played with it early, then it disappeared, and then it came back. You see where the bit of the issue is there? You can't have it go away and come back. It's got to be consistent throughout the 48 minutes. You're going to be a good team and a playoff team. You got to try to make sure that you don't have defensive lapses when you're playing against any team for that matter. Raptors definitely beat themselves in this one. They did. And that was from Raptors champs once again. They did. It was a tough one. It was a tough one, and, I'm glad that they did show some heart, at least in the end. Obviously, you still lose the game, but I'm glad they did throw, something at them down the stretch in this game. And AJ Lawson, remember I talked about him last game saying that he needs to be on a roster? Well, he has completely taken minutes from Jamison Battle and Grady Dick. He played some really good minutes for the Raptors tonight. He was one of the bright spots for me in this game. AJ Lawson had 19 minutes. He had 13 points. He was 4 of 5 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3-point range, 2 of 3 from the free throw line with 3 rebounds, and just 1 turnover, 1 steal in this game. So AJ Lawson has been playing really well. I think we're going to continue to see him now that it looks like the 905 season is over, I believe. 905 eliminated, says Raptor Champs. That's pretty sad, man. That's pretty sad. Does Drew Jones get moved up, Pug next to Darko? I think he does. He probably does get moved up to the Raptors bench here. Shout out to Coach Drew. He's done a fantastic job over this season. What else do we got here? I don't know if I've eliminated. Yes, I talked to you about BI being frustrated. What a game for CMB. Yes, I read all those already. And so now the Pistons, 50-44 with 2:56 remaining in that second quarter. And the Raptors, like I mentioned, were playing tough, but the Pistons, they were shooting well from 3-point range, 6 of 11 from 3-point range. And going into the half, Barrett has the and one on Jalen Duren, and he was showing some fight out there late in that second quarter. And throughout the first half, he had 18.6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal at the half. It was a 5-point deficit for the Raptors, 59-54. Points in the paint, 28-24 Raptors advantage. Jalen Duren had 17 points, 4 rebounds. He was 7 of 8 from the field. And for those of you who are just joining me, I talked about Jalen Duren. And let me tell you something. I'm going to say what I said before. Jalen Duren looks like he eats loaves of bread for breakfast. He looks like he uses car tires for pillows. He bench presses trees for fun. The guy is massive. Just massive. Like he sprinkles bricks on his bread like salt. Okay, that's how big this guy is. Like he was just sealing guys, and they couldn't do anything about it. Player with least minutes equals best plus minus. Lawson, was that really? Oh yeah, I see him here as a plus 16 on ESPN stats that I'm looking at. You have him at plus 15 there. Yeah, whatever. I mean, thanks for bringing that up, by the way, AJ 26er. Lawson was really good. He was really good. The Raptors are going to need him down the stretch, especially for shooting. He's shooting well. If you ain't getting anything from um, Jamison Battle and you ain't getting anything from Grady Dick, then you're going to need something from one AJ Lawson off the bench. Jacoby Walter in this one wasn't great. 27 minutes, just 3 points, 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3-point range, gave you 4 rebounds, 4 assists, gave you 3 steals, though. I thought he looked pretty good on defense from time to time in this one, but not a good offensive showing from him. Jacoby Walter, Jakob Poeltl in this game, 23 minutes, 13 points. I thought Jakob Poeltl looked pretty good early, 6 of 9 from the field, 4 rebounds in this game. But just down the stretch, we just didn't get much down the stretch from him, unfortunately, in this one. And the first thing that I put in my notes here, starting in that third quarter, just not enough offensive ball movement. You're making it too easy for the Pistons to be able to guard. You're just making it too easy for them. And they're still getting all the mismatches on the inside, passing it over the top of the defense for easy layups. The Raptors now, 3-point shooting with 5:11 remaining in that third quarter. The Pistons were 9 of 14, and the Raptors were 3 of 19 from 3-point range with 5:11 remaining in that third quarter. What's up, Johnny? What's up, my man? Congratulations, Mo says, for Masai and the tempo. Yes, for those of you who don't know, Masai Ujiri is back in Toronto with the Toronto Tempo. And you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to drop one for Masai Ujiri and the tempo here. One for that. The Pistons with 3:20. Listen to this, because this is crazy. The Pistons with 3:22 remaining in that third quarter, they were 12 of 12 from the field. The Raptors could not get a stop in that third quarter. And Scottie, 12 assists with 45 seconds remaining in that third quarter. And he did well from that standpoint, but I still need to see you be aggressive to the point where maybe even Detroit wants to throw a double team at you, or you just let them consider it so that somebody is open somewhere. But if you don't get domination from anyone, the defense doesn't really have to be honest, because they know you're not aggressive and not going to try to kill them scoring. You have the capabilities to do it. I want to see it a little bit more. Pistons, though, 100-81 after that third quarter. They were outscored 41-27 in that third quarter. And the Raptors are a pretty decent third quarter team. They were not tonight. They did not look good in the third. That's really where this game was pretty much lost. They were good throughout the game. They were good in the first half. They weren't necessarily great in the fourth quarter, but they were good down the stretch of the fourth quarter. But that third quarter was abysmal. It was not good at all. And even starting that fourth quarter, the Raptors weren't getting stops. The Pistons at one point were just kind of playing around with them a little bit. And Raptors win the fourth quarter 35-27. They were good down the stretch of that fourth quarter. It was that third quarter. Thank you, AJ26er. It was that third quarter that was rough. That third quarter was rough. And Scottie Barnes, I didn't like what Darko did with Barnes in the first quarter. And I thought he should have played more in this game. I know it was a blowout, obviously going towards the third and towards the end of the game, but I thought Scottie should have played more. He had 28 minutes in this game. I thought he should have played more down the stretch. Molly Weir says, what's up, Molly? Embarrassing showing, lack of urgency, which I definitely agree, and maturity starting with the head coach, yet getting cooked and Darko still playing him. I thought he should have brought in Mamu a bit earlier, to be honest with you. 23 minutes only in this one for Poeltl. I mean, the urgency always has to be there. The urgency always has to be there, especially when you're looking at the seeding. and you're seeing what the Atlanta Hawks are doing. You're battling back and forth with them. And now, you see, down the stretch, the Raptors did go on an 8-0 run. The score was 92 to 115. They go on an 8-0 run, and then they end up going on a 12-0 run, and CMB was the better defender all night on Duren. Absolutely agree. He was cooking Pirtle from the jump. He was cooking Pirtle from the jump. There was just absolutely nothing that they can do to stop Duren in this one. Just a big, big, strong, bruising dude. And the Raptors do go on that 12-0 run, and they weren't giving up, but in the end, you weren't getting enough stops. And they made some threes down the stretch that were kind of backbreakers. Jakob's foot speed is too slow to defend Duren. Too slow, and Duren is just too strong. And the Raptors did cut this game to 10. It was 120 to 110 with 3:30 remaining in this game. And Lawson was making shots. He had a 4-point play in this game, early on in this game. But he was playing extremely hard. 13 points, 3 of 3 from three-point range late in the fourth quarter. The Raptors did pick up full court, and they forced the Pistons in an 8-second violation. And, you know, when you're down that much and you're trying to make a run, you know things have to pretty much go perfectly for you down the stretch when you're down by that much to try to win that game. And it's just you're not going to be able to make that big run, right? You're not going to be able to make a run like that unless you do everything perfectly, like I mentioned down the stretch. And it was just too late for the Raptors to make that run. And so they take the L 127-116 against the Detroit Pistons. They don't have time to complain. They don't have time to whine about it. They are on the first game of a back-to-back against the Sacramento Kings. And so you have to go into Sacramento Kings. Well, we're at Scotiabank Arena. You got to whoop their ass. Let's just say what it is. You have to whoop Sacramento Kings behind. Okay? We all know that they are allergic to winning. And we have to shrug this one off. Go up against the Kings. Do not take any deficits. You got to have a good start from the jump to go up against them and go on and get that W. At Mike Roach 7 on IG, at Mike Roach 23 on X. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share the Mike Roach Show. Get at me in the comments. Let me know what you like, dislike. Let me know what you think is going to happen against the Sacramento Kings. Let me know what your thoughts were about this game here tonight. And the Raptors, they got to get back at it. Johnny at Molly Ware. This is what bothers me with the Raptors. The previous teams we got wasn't as talented, but they play hard every night. We cannot and should not pick and choose who we show up for. Completely agree. Completely agree. You got to be consistent with effort. You got to be consistent with effort, and you got to make shots. Sounds simplistic, but this is the NBA. They're just things that you have to do night in and night out. You got to be able to do these things. You have to. Thank you, Johnny. You got to be able to do these things. And so, like I mentioned, the Raptors, they got to come out tomorrow. They got to have a good start, get a jump, be physical. Scottie's got to come out being aggressive, going to the basket. He needs to continue his facilitating, which was good. But overall, you can't have those lapses. You just cannot have those lapses, especially against these good teams. And so the Raptors, they got a few games left on the season. You're in a battle here. The playoffs, like I've mentioned, for the Raptors, the playoffs have already begun. They have already begun. Mike, this is from Molly Weir. BI got to go in the offseason. Force feeding. Let me see what this says. Let's not jump to conclusions here, Molly. Let me just read what you're going to say because I haven't seen it. Force feeding him the ball while everyone watches a recipe for disaster while he falls asleep on D. The team looks dead on both sides of the ball when he is on. But is that on Ingram or is that on Coach Darko? Is that on Coach Darko? That's more on Darko than it is on Ingram. Because Coach Darko is the one who's coming up with the offensive schemes and his coaching staff. They've got to make adjustments as a coaching staff together to figure out that half-court offense. And so I'm hoping that they figure it out soon, because if the Raptors do make it to the playoffs, which I am predicting they will, hopefully, they can't play like that in the playoffs and expect anything good or even decent to happen. They can't. That's an absolutely crazy thing to think would be good going into the playoffs. And so I wouldn't jump to conclusions with Brandon Ingram like that, Molly, but I do hear you. And you and I have talked about this. You and I have talked about it before. I think it drives you and me more crazy than it does everybody else. And no, you know what? That's not completely true. It has driven other people crazy in the comments as well. But I know you and me have definitely talked about that over and over again. And it absolutely does piss me off. Ladies and gents, this is the Mike Roach Show. I am going to cut this live short here because we are back tomorrow post-game for the Sacramento Kings. Thank you for being with me. Continue to get your comments down below, and I will speak to you in the comments. All right. So this is the Mike Roach Show. If you haven't already left a comment, if you're new to the show, leave your comments. I reply, and I will get back to you. Speak to you tomorrow. I'm out. Later, everyone.